Hello YouTube, it's Detroit Borg, and today I'd like to take a look at the iPhone 4 Retina display versus that of the iPhone 3GS. Now the iPhone 4 has 4 times the pixel density of the iPhone 3GS, so naturally the resolution is much better. In addition, the iPhone 4 has an IPS display, otherwise known as in-plane switching, and it's the same technology used on the iPad, which dramatically improves color stability and viewing angles. And the best way to illustrate the viewing angles or the color stability of the iPhone 4 display is to rotate them side by side. So let's go ahead and rotate both of them, hopefully at the same angles. And as you can see, the iPhone 3GS has shifted to the blue side, and it is much more washed out. The contrast and detail has dropped off. It's even worse when you rotate it to the other side. The iPhone 3GS display is nearly washed out, so it's completely unusable at this angle, but the iPhone 4 looks very good. It's almost like looking at it head-on. Perhaps it's not as bright as if you were looking at it head-on, but at least the detail and color are still there. It's very similar to looking at a plasma display in which the viewing angles are very good. It's the same with an OLED display. So Apple was able to provide some of the strengths of both an LCD display, which is excellent bright sunlight viewing conditions, and the viewing angles of an OLED display. Now, of course, we can't talk about the iPhone 4 Retina display without talking about the resolution. And I find the best way to illustrate the resolution of the iPhone 4 display is to zoom in on one of the folders inside the iOS. As you can see, I have the exact same settings for both phones. That includes brightness, folder layouts, applications, etc. So first let's take a look at the iPhone 3GS and zoom in on one of my Apple folders. Okay, so this is a folder that contains all my Apple apps, and as you can see, it's a little fuzzy. So all of those icons are crammed into that little folder, and they're kind of hard to make out. But if you go over to the iPhone 4, you can see quite a bit more detail. It's even better if you were handling the phone yourself. There's a little distortion when you look through a camera, but you get the idea. Let's go back. Back again. The other difference is when looking at curves of graphics. So we have this camera icon here. It's a round circle, and you can see the jagged edges of the pixels. If you go over to the iPhone 4, it's very smooth. Once again, iPhone 4, 3GS. I've already zoomed on a portion of the Apple website and looking at the word better, which has a lot of curves to show off the difference. So let's look again at the 3GS. Once again, you see the jagged edges of the curves. When you go over to the iPhone 4, it's completely smooth. This is much less fatiguing on the eyes, of course, and it allows you to see greater detail without zooming in. So let's look at the full Apple website to show you what I mean. Okay, if we look at the Apple Store, we see a lot of small text before we zoomed in. And on the iPhone 4, you can actually read it pretty clearly. On the iPhone 3GS, it's very blurry, so you'd have to zoom in. Now, let me illustrate that. I'm going to zoom in. On the iPhone 3GS, we can see things are pretty pixelated. It's a little more exaggerated by the camera, but the small words and small text without zooming up are very difficult to see. But if I went over to the iPhone 4, I can read it pretty clearly, and once again there's a little distortion, which is making it look worse than it is. But if you really to look up close, you can see every single word without any hint of pixelation. Now I'm just holding the iPhone 4 up to the camera to hopefully get the best focus I can at this close range, and gives you an idea of how clear the text is. So just to get an idea how close I was zooming up, let me pull it again toward the camera. There you go. Now let's do that with the iPhone 3GS, now that it went to sleep on me. So as you can see, the closer you get to the camera, the fuzzier it looks. Once again, that's Detroit Borg with a demo of the Retina display on the iPhone 4 versus the iPhone 3GS. Thanks for watching.